In today's First Five, I just want to touch on the story a lot of people have been focusing on about Joe Biden. And this is, he is the presumptive nominee for the Democrats for president this year. I will maintain what I have said all along. There is no way the Democrat Party is going to let him be on that ballot in November of this year due to his, and I'm sorry for him, but due to his dementia, declining ability to communicate, his incredible corruption related to Ukraine, and his general just uninteresting to the voting base, the Democrat Party. They won't let him do it. But he's a presumptive nominee right now. And this week, the story came out more publicly about a woman who worked for him when he was a U.S. senator, worked in his office, and accuses him of sexual assault against her. Her name is Tara Reade, R-E-A-D-E, Tara Reade. She claims in 1993 he cornered her in his office and was very physically aggressive and actually using his hands penetrated her. I'm sorry to say that in this lovely, classy show, but that's the level of conduct that she claims he engaged in. Well, of course, the campaign denied it. But now what's come to light is that Tara Reade's mother, having heard about this incident from her daughter at the time, called into the Larry King show. Larry King used to be on CNN, and there's a clip available of what the mother said to Larry King. So I have Matt, the wonderful producer, is going to play that clip, and I just want to tell you why this actually really does matter in the 2020 election cycle.
San Luis Obispo, California. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm wondering what a staffer would do besides go to the press in Washington. My daughter has just left there after working for a prominent senator and could not get through with her problems at all. And the only thing she could have done was go to the press, and she chose not to do it out of respect for him.
Or she had a story to tell, but out of respect for the person she worked for, she didn't tell it.
That's true.
Okay, let me say the rest of the conversation was rather inane and Larry King. I mean, I didn't ever used to watch his show, but not a stellar journalistic analysis of the call. But the point is, Tara Reade, the woman who claims that Joe Biden sexually assaulted her, told friends, or that her mom told her, that she had called into Larry King basically to say, what are you supposed to do if you're a staffer in Washington and someone in power does something like this? Obviously, the call that you just heard, that's all we have of the story that the mom told Larry King, no description of the conduct. But what's happened, Tara Reade mentioned to the media that her mom had told her she'd called into CNN to Larry King, and that she, Tara Reade, had complained to her mother, don't do this could hurt me, embarrass me, blah, blah. Well, now that this allegation is out there, now that Joe Biden is apparently the Democrat contender for president here in 2020, more attention is being focused on this story. So someone actually dug up that little clip you just heard on Larry King's show. Tara Reade commented, and hearing it, yeah, that is my mother's voice. And it's funny, Larry King mispronounced. I happen to know that town, San Luis Obispo. But anyway, that little town in California, I've actually been there many times and know it well. That mom lived in San Luis Obispo, according to Tara Reade, and was Tara Reade. And she is the one who, Tara Reade says, yes, I recognize my mom's voice. All of this just validates that, at least at the time, Tara Reade told people what had happened to her. She told her mom. She's also, because other media outlets have been investigating, it turns out she actually did tell a couple of friends. So it's not just that she is alone in claiming this story happened for the first time now, interfering with the Democrats' presidential campaign. She told people back at the time. But the real point I want to get, and why this story matters to you, is just to urge you to think about the way the Democrat media mob in this country handled allegations against now Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, when the allegations were from a time when Kavanaugh was a minor. It was a high school conduct. It was the girl making the allegation was talking about from high school. It's years and years later, obviously like 36 or 7 years later, I believe I recall. And there was nobody at all who could corroborate anything the accuser of Kavanaugh had to say. Nobody, even the friends that the accuser named. And so, well, I think so-and-so, I might have said something to her or so-and-so. Not one of the people she listed as my good friends who maybe could corroborate my story corroborate my story. None of those people would corroborate. All of them said, I've never heard about this. I never knew about it. She never told me about this. One even indicated very subtly, I don't think so. So you have an allegation occurring in high school, if at all, which I conclude at the end of it all, watching all of the hearings and her conduct, I think it was entirely concocted with a political motivation to try to keep Kavanaugh off of the Supreme Court. But whatever you think about that, my point in talking about today is to really recognize how completely dishonest the Democrat media mob is in this country. They raked Justice Kavanaugh over the coals in headlines and stories and interviews for week after week. They came up with the hashtag Believe the Woman. So any woman, so the story went when they were trying to destroy Justice Kavanaugh, any woman should be believed. If she makes the allegation, it happened. And I said at the time, we need to reject that as women. We need to reject that, because that entirely throws away the constitutional premise of innocent until proven guilty, the right to have any charges against you reviewed, the right to have due process. The utter idiocy of the Believe the Woman slogan was made obvious in that kind of case. There was no basis or evidence whatsoever. And everything about her story continued to fall apart the longer she sat up there in the Senate testifying. I'm raising this to you to say, there will be in the future other allegations of sexual misconduct toward people in the public eye, people elected officials, and people in business, all sorts of people. Everyone actually deserves the presumption of innocence. Everyone deserves due process. No one should ever be convicted, even in the public mind, because of a hashtag slogan the radical left came up with, Believe the Woman. But in this particular case, I really want to invite you to memorize this moment, keep track of this, make a mental note. Next time an allegation is made against anyone who is in public office, anyone who's in a position to help or hurt the radical left, recognize they don't mean anything they're saying. They didn't mean anything they were saying when they talked about Justice Kavanaugh. They just wanted to find a way to destroy him and thought they had it. But in this particular case, you have a far more credible allegation against Joe Biden than was ever possible in the Kavanaugh instance. You have a woman who told people at the time what occurred. She didn't wait 20, 30 years and then say, hey, by the way, never mention this happened. Told people at the time, but this little clip from the Larry King show, this little clip that is, the woman says her mom told her she called Larry King. The woman says she recognizes her mom's voice. The caller's from San Luis Obispo, which is, it's not a tiny little town, but it's not a big city like getting a caller from New York. It's a unique place to be from, calling to Larry King. This is really all the validation the media should need that this story, at least that Tara Reade did tell her mother at the time it occurred. And I think it's incumbent on leftist women in this country who want to be believed, want to be taken seriously, don't want to have their allegations dismissed out of hand. It's incumbent on women to give credence to this woman in this case. I still don't think Joe Biden is going to end up with a nomination. In fact, some of the people who are his likely VP contenders were interviewed over the weekend. You had Amy Klobuchar was on some show. Nancy Pelosi is not really a contender, but she was on some show. And all the people who were even in contention or even allegedly on his short list, no one's even asked about it. The media doesn't go after the women who are potentially going to be Biden's VP and say, so what do you think about Joe Biden and his conduct toward Tara Reade in 1993? What do you think about that? Do you believe? No one does that to these women. They won't do it to these women. He will get a pass because he's a member of the left-wing ruling elite mob that does not have to play by the rules they intend to inflict on everybody else. And that, my friends, is today's First Five.